What is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, it is day 3 of the grandest party of them all. Season 18 is upon us, and we're going to be utilizing the new Cross Guild anniversary exclusive character in today's video. Now, if you guys haven't checked out day 1 and day 2, we've had a little bit of fun picking on stuff like Free Spirit, using stuff like Fujin Kizaru, which was actually insanely fun. I'm a big fan of that leader, and hopefully the Cross Guild can actually put forward a nice showing today as well. But if you enjoy this kind of stuff, belt the like button as always. Hit the subscribe button. With that said, let's take a look at Cross Guild in some Grand Party content. Alright, so we got some refreshers, some refresh Rooney. So we're going to take on some Gear 5 leads. So I can start it off with this particular Gear 5 team that's utilizing Quick, Psy, and Dex. Look, I feel like we're in a pretty strong standpoint with this particular fight, but it is always nice taking a new lead against the King Gear 5/6+. Now, with Cross Guild, they buff slashes, driven, and quick units. So it's like a quick, if you're a quick driven or a quick slasher, you're going to get the most buffs out of the leader. And with that, I'm actually bringing Cracker on my slasher team. I think in Grand Party, slashers really benefit from the CD reduction. That extra CD reduction that Cracker gives, it's just absolutely massive. It's starting off with 13 cooldowns, which is wild. And over 20 speed. It's just 36 with the driven unit of S-Hawk. It's just kind of nuts right now. So, yeah, like this is a big reason why I think running Cracker in the slasher lineup is just better for Grand Party content rather than regular PvP. I think in regular PvP, without all the extra stat buffs, K-Dad's probably the best option. But obviously, K-Dad's getting absolutely destroyed right now in the sense that they are a Free Spirit strength unit, very similar to like Psy Free Spirit. So it's a little bit hard to actually bring K-Dad. Odin obviously still gives CD reduction, which is a huge benefit to the team. And the only other unit that can kind of do that for slashes is Kizaru, and he kind of fits the same problem that Odin has, minus the whole being a Free Spirit character. So I feel like bringing Odin, it's still an absolute fine for the meantime. Yes, you can bring alternatives, and if I was going to place anyone, that's the unit I would replace on this particular team. Now, with Cross Guild, their burst ability does give haste to slashers and driven characters, so you do want to try and build out as many driven slashers on teams as possible, so that way you can maximize the most of the burst. And the burst will basically go after a time frame, so like you just have to wait a certain amount of seconds, and then you'll get the burst. It's very easy to get, and that is a product of a good leader, just having a very easily and attainable burst skill, and that ability to just wait time is actually so ridiculously valuable. On top of that, you get a 50% heal with the GP leader burst. So if you get hit by a Gear 5 burst off rip, like the start of the second fight, you can actually use Cross Guild to heal back up, which does seem very, very handy to have, on top of giving yourself a haste ability. And the haste ability, I think, is going to be very beneficial for the slasher team with like Roger and Whitebeard and S-Hawk and stuff like that. But it's also going to be quite beneficial here when we are sort of looking at sort of stopping the enemy from using specials. So Odin is going to be very close to going. I should have just used it. I should have just used that, man. I kind of wanted to make sure that I had the burst in case the enemy gets their burst ready to go. But I think we'll be fine. Yeah, I think we'll be fine. But getting that haste ability is really, really nice because it'll just bring all your units to the front, and it'll just basically stop anything that's coming your way. However, let's see if we can make this work. Don't kill me. Okay, he killed a bunch of units. No, he didn't. He killed Roger and Odin. That's kind of sucky, but whatever. But this is another really good way of utilizing the burst. We can use our burst to get back a heal, which is really, really handy. And then we can sort of just move on from there. Unfortunately, Gear 5 is going to have... Oh, no, he's not. Sorry, Gear 5. Sorry, Yamato. And just goodbye. But yeah, having that haste ability just means you can bring your units forward, which means that not only will you be able to just kill units with like Roger and Whitebeard and stuff like S-Hawk, but you'll also be able to use the abilities of Smoothie and Cross Guild to actually roll back the enemy specials. Just like you guys saw yesterday with Fujin Kizaru, just basically stopping the enemy in their tracks allows you to be able to pick off a team before the enemy can get their burst. The big scary thing about Gear 5 is that burst skill. And if you're playing Gear 5, right, you're using something like Slashes first, or you're using something like Strikers or Powerhouse HP cutting, just to get that burst ability ready to go. But if you stop the enemy from doing that completely with stuff like, again, Kizaru Fuji's ability to just roll back specials, with Cross Guild and Smoothie doing the same thing, you can do some really, really fun stuff. And that ability to give haste to bring these units forward at the right time is going to be very, 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 very beneficial. So, no issues whatsoever in that first fight there. Like I said, it's obviously the first 3 days of Grand Party. When we can see what we're going up against, it's not exactly the hardest time for the game mode. However, it is a lot of fun being able to sort of see how these teams operate. Let's dive into the next match. Alright, we're going to flip it around now. We're going to bring Strength to the front because the enemy has a Dex team in the front lineup. The middle team Slashes, which is kind of annoying because Slashes are just so good in Grand Party at the moment, man. Slashes, I know Freak Spirit are really good, but like Freak Spirit are getting nerfed to the shithouse. Slashes, they are not. They're actually getting buffs because of like S-Hawk. So Slashes are just so scary to fight right now. However, we're going to put our Driven Slasher quick team up against it and then run Slashes the back end. If we have to sack that middle team, we have to sack it. However, I feel like our Strength build should be absolutely fine going up against Dex. Now, Dex is in a bit of a weird point. Like, we have S-Shark, and S-Shark's very, very good. So I do think we could see a resurgence with Dex. And in Grand Party, I do think Dex is actually a very, very good squad because they can sort of stall out teams and whatnot. But if you can find a way to get your Strength team to go up against a Dex team, it's really a no contest. Unfortunately, Dex just don't have the firepower. They don't have the utilities to take on something like Strength. And honestly, they don't have that many utilities to take on many other teams as well. They do obviously thrive against Quick, and they should thrive against Quick. But if you put them up against something like Slashers or Strikers or Freak Spirit or some of those other really big blopper teams, you're going to find that the team will actually struggle. So we're just going to throw Strength up here first. Should have no issues whatsoever. Luffy's got the haste going. We should be able to pop the team off pretty fast and not even have a worry about the burst getting close. If you guys are going to be using Dex with Gear 5, I would highly recommend using them second or third. They benefit heavily from the Gear 5 burst, just like the Free Spirit team does. So they're kind of not a frontline team. But I love finding them, so if you guys want to keep doing it, it does help me out when I'm doing these types of showcases. So appreciate whoever this guy is that actually ran them first. So we're going to just let this one play. You know what? Let's just skip this. We'll go to the next fight. I have no reason to sort of play that out. Like I said, Strength's pretty much got the win there. The second fight is going to be the one that's very interesting. Now, the enemy doesn't have a burst. Doesn't have a burst at all. We do. Now, this is a prime opportunity for us to be able to use the cross-guild burst ability to stop stuff like S-Hawk and Roger and Whitebeard. I believe, yeah, both of those units are on the team. They're basically running the exact build that I was running last time, with a few changes of obviously PvP Brook being just better than that Usopp I used, and then not using Cat Viper and using Kalmatsu instead. Kalmatsu is a fantastic option for the bench as well. So, like I said, Slashers right now, they are very scary to go up against. The difference between the Slasher team that we run and the Slasher team that they run is Gear 5 doesn't boost Slashers. That still doesn't make them any less of a force. It just makes it a little bit different to run. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our GP Burst here because Roger and Whitebeard is about to go and we definitely do not want that. That's going to bring up our haste abilities. So that way we can do stuff like this. Bada bing, bada boom. Get a couple kills off. Get a couple of special reverse off. You guys know the vibes. The thing about Slashers are they go so quick and they can output so much damage that... Did we get the special roll back there? Yeah, they can output so much damage, but if you can kill them very, very quickly, then you actually don't have to worry about that. Downside to this guy too is, yeah, okay, this is scary. He has Shiki on the bench. Lucky for us, we got the special rollback on Shiki, but if Shiki's special went off, that would have just been absolutely horrific. But look, that was a really, really good burst, and if you are going up against Slashes with, like in the second fight, that's going to be a really good time for the burst. But stereotypically, if you're using Gear 5, you should be running Slashes first, so that way you can just get an insta charge for your burst. But shout out to DBZ Pirates for the showcase. Alright, so we're going to round it out with the final Gear 5 fight. Shout out to this PXM player running an in team up the front. So we're just going to throw Slashes there. Absolutely decimate it. Use Strength in the middle and just call it a day. Cross Guild are pretty good. The thing about Cross Guild is they take some planning for their ability to be worthwhile. And their passive is great. Their passive boosts Driven, which is exceptional for the quick Driven team, obviously. Strength have a lot of Driven characters. Dex have a lot of good Driven characters. So the Driven passive, whilst Driven isn't great, it's actually pretty beneficial. Plus, obviously boosting Slashes is an exceptional plus, but I don't know how good these guys are if you compare them to something like Roger and Odin. With grand party and the way that the makeups of the best units are, is that if you can get your burst ability off to benefit you to just gain a win, no matter what team you go up against, just with the way that you structure your 3 teams, that's stereotypically going to make the best leader. And that's what Gear 5 does so well, and Roger and Odin does it as well, same with Roger. You could just sort of put together your teams, have a structure and a game plan, no matter what you came up against, and then you're going to be fine. However, if you know what you're coming up against, these particular units, like Cross Guild, like Kizaru Fuji, hell, even like Robin Koala, like you saw on day 1, these units are going to shine. However, once we start not being able to see what's going on, that's when stuff can get a little bit tricky. And if we come up against a slasher team first, with any of these lineups, there's a good chance that we're just going to get our absolute ass handed to us, because we're not going to be able to charge our burst quickly, because we just have to wait a certain amount of time. Units like slasher teams go very, very quickly, and that's just not going to work in our favor. However, if we don't and we get lucky, or you can tell that, like, you can see, I don't know, Gear 5 on the bench or in the front lines of the first team, you can pretty much guarantee that you're not coming up against something like slashers, and then you can easily run these types of leaders, predict what's going to happen in terms of being like, alright, sweet, I can use this haste ability at any moment in time, get the full advantage out of it, and then just like go from there. So Kobe's basically going to give CD reduction here, and if Kobe doesn't give haste to the units that I want him to give haste to, namely Blackbeard and Kaido, then I'm just going to use the special and bring them forward. However, what you can do is just literally wait for all your units to go, like this. Like, bunk, bunk, bunk. Kaido's going to go anyway. Like, honestly, we're not even going to need the burst this fight. Like, it's pretty much over. We'll do this, I guess. Bring that Blackbeard. Try and bring that Blackbeard to the front. Okay, we brought him to the front a little bit, so that way he can get some HP cutting off, and then you can just sort of go from there. Holding on to the burst, obviously, it's not a terrible idea with Cross Guild, but like, you're just going to charge up the next one if you just use it, so just having that ready to go is always great. And overall, I do think they are a fantastic leader with a fantastic burst and a fantastic condition with great actual teams. Like I said, the downside to the unit is you really have to know what you're going up against, and it's going to help getting forward, but at the end of the day, look, they're no Gear 5, and I said that before I used them. I know that now that I've used them, and they are just going to be another really fun showcase for the channel. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to go down there, belt the like button for me, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Now, before I go, actually, it's the end of day 3. So please, for the love of God, once you are done your fights, the least you can do is change your leader to a unit on the bench that looks like this, so that way the enemy does not have to worry about a Gear 5 build. So please just change your leaders. Again, thank you for watching. Catch you on the next one.